Ari Lewis Show.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Ari Lewis Show here on Israel Sports and News Radio. Thank you for joining us. At any time, you can email the program arilewishow@hotmail.com, or you can email the station Israel Sports and News Radio at gmail.com. Yom Hazikaron and Yom Hatzmaut are upon us this week. On the line right now to discuss both days is the founder of IsraelK.org. Back to the program, Benji Singer. Benji, how you doing out there?
Hi, Ari. How you doing?
Doing great. So let's get started. I want to ask you, do you feel there should be a connection between Yom HaShoah and Yom Hatzmaut?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. There's a big debate in Israel about when the date of Yom HaShoah should have been. Should it be on Asar B'Tevet? Should it be on Tisha B'Av? But the date chosen was just the week was the date of the Warsaw Ghetto uprising, just a week before Yom HaZikaron, Yom HaTzmaut. And I think there's a very close connection between Yom HaShoah and Yom HaZikaron, Yom HaTzmaut. Firstly, in a way, Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaTzmaut, the re-establishing of the State of Israel, kind of, for spiritual reasons, showed the Jewish people that God was back in there. During the Holocaust, God in a way hid his face. And the re-establishment of the state and the miracles that came along with that kind of gave the Jews confidence that God was with them again. Secondly, on a practical level, there were refugees, there were survivors, there were homeless. And Israel, the state of Israel, was like a homeland for them they could come back to. And also, the state of Israel gave the Jews a national state of purpose, a mission, self-confidence, self-esteem after the horrors of the Holocaust. And finally, through the state of Israel, the Jews are able to catch and execute the perpetrators, the Nazi perpetrators, for instance, Eichmann, famously in 1960. So yeah, there's a close connection between the Holocaust and Yom HaShoah and Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaTzmaut, and therefore it's very appropriate that that Yom HaTzmaut and also Yom HaZikaron is a week after and closely following Yom HaShoah.
All right, and let me ask you, how do you think we should feel on Yom HaZikaron?
Right, that's an interesting question. A lot of us feel that we should feel and that there should be a national state of mourning, just like on Tisha B'Av. I always feel that Yom HaZikaron is like a modern day Tisha B'Av. It's a day of Cheshbon HaNefesh, day of reflection, a day when we realize that regular Israelis are actually heroes, a day when we appreciate the self-sacrifice that Israelis have been through and continue to go through, defending the state of Israel, both soldiers and, of course, people who have been killed in terror attacks, both here and abroad. So it's actually a very sad day. It's a day of self-reflection. And it's a day that, you really appreciate what we value, and you respect Israelis, regular Israelis who go to the army and are willing to give their lives in defense of our country. So it's a sad day. It's probably the saddest day in the Jewish year for most people, both religious and secular. Sadly enough, it's also a day of unity. It's a day when all Jews, whatever type of kippah they wear, or they don't wear a kippah at all, they stand in silence and they think about all those who have died in defense of the state.
Again, this is the Ari Lewis Show here on Israel Sports and News Radio. My guest is Benji Singer, founder of IsraelK.org, talking about Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaTzmaut. So let me ask you, why do you think the state of Israel is so important?
Well, it's a big question. First, I think for religious reasons. Anyone who learns the Tanakh, anyone who learns the Bible, knows that Israel is our homeland. The locations of Jerusalem, Hebron, Beit El, Beersheba, etc., they all existed in Tanakh times. And secondly, for social reasons, we're surrounded by Jews in Israel, Hebrew, Jewish culture. It's a great place socially. Thirdly, also, in a way, the state of Israel gave the Jews a sense of hope and mission after the Holocaust. Fourthly, Israel is a center of Jewish learning, of Torah learning. Both qualitatively and quantitatively, the learning of Torah and Jewish learning and Jewish culture is richer in Israel than any other place in the world. And finally, there are big problems of assimilation and intermarriage abroad. That's not to say that there are plenty of secular Jews in Israel, but nevertheless, thank God, most secular Jews, they marry secular Jews. They don't marry non-Jews. So those just the tip of the iceberg. There are some reasons why Israel is so important and will continue to be important in the life of the Jewish people.
So tell us, what are some activities that are going to be happening on Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaTzmaut?
Right. So as you'll be able to see on IsraelK.org on my website, I'm in the middle of doing listings both for Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaTzmaut. Yom HaZikaron, basically we know that 8 p.m. on Yom HaZikaron night, that's Tuesday evening, there's the siren. Following the siren, there are tekasim, there are ceremonies in most synagogues, most communities, most, Snifim, Bnei Akiva, of Ezra, they're all different youth movements, they have very moving ceremonies. We live in Hatzmaut, so just a few. Firstly, the One Family organization on the corner of Rachel Yemeinu and Kovshik Hatzmaut by the roundabout. They always have a very moving ceremony. Also, there's Reguan and Hartman Boys on Chavtet in November. Also, Bnei Akiva in Choreb have a very good ceremony. Right, so that's Yom Ha. And also, of course, we know, sadly, people visit the cemeteries, Har Herzl, there are the state ceremonies, both in the evening and during the day. Now, Yom Hatzmaut also, it depends on what you're looking for. There's also, you'll find on the website, israelk.org, there are ceremonies and tefillot going on in the evening of Yom Hatzmaut on Wednesday night. Now, during the day, you've got Chilon HaTanakh that you can listen to, the famous the Bible competition. You've also got Tiulim. You've got the famous, the Israeli Air Force planes fly over Israel, and you'll be able to see on israelk.org exactly what time they'll be flying over your area. And you've also got, there are plenty of free activities the various banks sponsor all around Israel, and you'll be able to find a listing of which museums will be free on israelk.org. Now finally, on Thursday evening, and at Beit Harav Kook, in Rehov Harav Kook in Jerusalem, there are also celebrations there on Thursday evening, and you'll be able to find details of that on israelk.org. But Yom HaAtzmaut depends on what you're looking for. The most important thing is to enjoy yourselves after the heaviness of Yom HaShoah and Yom HaZikaron. That's the most important thing. You've got to choose what you want. Most people also get in a barbecue somewhere. If you're in Jerusalem, there's Gan Saka, there's San Simon Park. There are all types of parks. Just make sure, of course, you clear up afterwards. So whatever you do, make sure you have a good time.
All right, again, this is the Ari Lewis Show here on Israel Sports and News Radio. My guest is Benji Singer. He's the founder of israelk.org. We're talking about Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaTzmaut. So, Benji, do you think that Jews who live in the diaspora, they live outside of Israel, should they celebrate Yom HaTzmaut?
Yes, certainly. As Israel's gone on, we've realized that Jews in Israel and Jews abroad were dependent on each other. Our leaders need to work together. Leaders in Israel shouldn't just say, come to Israel, Jews, and everything will be okay. They have to recognize that the Jewish communities abroad, we're reliant on them. Most of them are very successful. They're well run. We need to work together. Diaspora Jews need Israel for their identity. And often the best Jewish studies teachers come from Israel. They go to Jewish schools abroad, and they teach them Hebrew. Israel will always be there for all Jews throughout the world, give them a sense of pride and identity. And also Jews in Israel, we need to respect the communities abroad. We can learn a lot from them, the way they run, their rabbis, their communities. We're also reliant on their moral support, and also, of course, obviously their financial aid. And we need to work together. Jews in Israel need to recognize that there'll always be Jews abroad, and we can learn a lot from them. And similarly, Jews abroad need to realize they should be sending their funds, and they should be supporting us however they can, because we're reliant. We're all Jews, Am Echad B'Lev Echad. And we've been, in our generation, it's a very difficult time period, this week. You've got Yom HaShoah, Yom HaZikaron, and Yom HaAtzmaut. And these two events just happened within a few years, from each other. We have to realize that they're miraculous events, they're supernatural events. You can't really explain them in natural terms. And if anything, they taught us the fact there has to be unity, both within Israel, between the different factions, religious and secular, but also between Jews in Israel and Jews abroad. We need to work together in making sure that the Jewish people continue to thrive and survive. But as we've been saying, if you want to know what's going on over Yom HaShoah, Yom HaZikaron, Yom HaAtzmaut, etc., Yom HaShoah was of course last week, but Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaAtzmaut, everything will be on israelk.org, so check out the website on Tuesday afternoon, and then on Wednesday afternoon you should be able to find out what's going on there.
All right, good stuff. Benji Singer from israelk.org on the program on the Ari Lewis Show on Israel Sports and News Radio. Benji, thanks so much for coming on the program, and Chag Sameach.
Thanks. Chag Sameach to you too.
Be well. Bye-bye.